Number 15. A plane is going to fly 200 miles at a planned speed of 450 miles per hour. The flight will have an average headwind of W miles per hour the entire time, meaning the plane is flying directly against the wind. So this is T of W, that's the Y for W. W, it tells us, is the headwind, the average headwind. So we can label this as the headwind blowing against the plane. And something that I didn't make clear here is that this is the flight time. So if there's no wind pushing against the plane, then the flight is very quick. This is time in hours. But if there's a 200-mile-an-hour headwind, then the flight takes longer. If the headwind is 300 miles an hour, the flight takes longer. If the headwind is 400 miles an hour, the flight takes longer. And if the wind gets strong enough, the flight takes a really long time. This would represent a 15-hour flight up here if the headwind is this strong. Okay. What does T of 200 mean in this situation? So notice that the 200 replaced the W in T of W. The W is the headwind in miles per hour. So this is the something for headwind equal 200 miles per hour. Okay, well, it's the what? It's the time in hours. So we could call this the flight time in hours for a headwind of 200 miles per hour. And that amount would be just about there. So this isn't labeled that clearly, so it's some number between 0 and 5. So maybe it's like between 1 and 2 hours if the headwind is 200 miles an hour. Okay. At what value of x does the graph have a vertical asymptote? Explain what this asymptote means in the situation. Okay? So you can see that we get the vertical asymptote, the line that cannot be touched, somewhere around here. And this comes from having a value of W that would make this fraction undefined. So we can say something like 450 minus W equals 0. And we'll say that it actually can't equal 0. Meaning that we can't get this total to equal 0. That is not what we want because our answer will be undefined. So what value of W would make this total 0? 450 minus 450 would give you a total of 0. So our asymptote is at W equal 450, which says if headwind equals 450 miles per hour, flight time is undefined. When W equals 450, when the headwind is 450, the flight time is undefined. Because if the headwind blows this hard when you're only going to go 450 miles an hour, if it's pushing back at you, that means you're not actually moving, which means that the amount of time it will take to get there will be eternal. It's undefined. The flight will last forever if the headwind is 450 miles an hour.